Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Rock Roundtable. Now, today we will be following up on last week's episode, in which we started ranking every Beatles album opener. Now, that episode ran a little bit long, so we did the first six Beatles album openers there, and we'll do the other ones here. So, we're going to be starting off with Revolver here, whereas previously we had done Please Please Me's album opener. I saw her standing there through Global Soul's album opener, which is Drive My Car. So we've already ranked those, as you can see on screen now. And now we will begin arguing over and deciding where to place the rest of the Beatles album openers. If you haven't already seen that first video, please go consider watching it. It'd be helpful if you watched it before this one, as I think it makes some of our arguments make more sense here, although it isn't strictly necessary to watch, but still probably a good idea. Now, without further ado, let's get started. Alright, so up next is Taxman, from
I put it
Revolver.
at third.
You all know that Revolver is my favorite Beatles album, but I'm gonna be honest, Taxman is not my favorite Beatles song particularly. It's not my favorite Beatles album opener. I think it's one of the weaker ones here. It's better than It Won't Be Long. It's better than I think I Saw Her Standing There. Although I'm not really sure if it works as well as an album opener as I Saw Her Standing There. So I'd probably put it in between I Saw Her Standing There and It Won't Be Long. And if Drive My Car had been where I wanted it, which was in between those ones, I would also probably put it below Drive My Car. Um, I do like the song though, it's just not my favorite. What are y'all's thoughts both on the song and how it works as an album opener? Because I kind of want to discuss how they work as a song as well, and we've kind of got it off from that. Ben,
I put it at number one. It introduces the tone of Revolver, the kind of psychedelic elements of the music and the kind of Indian influences and stuff in it very well. Even though I don't agree with the politics of this song, um, the light-hearted tone also I think sets Revolver up to be a very fun listening experience. I always have a lot of fun when listening to Revolver, and if it had said "Open with Eleanor Rigby," which is a lot better song than Taxman, it probably would be still less enjoyable to listen to than if Taxman was with Taxman as the opener. Taxman kind of sets the tone of most of the songs on the album and sets the genre opening the experimentation for the rest of the album that defines and makes that album an excellent album. I think Taxman is an integral part of that album and is really, really important as a tone setter, even more than Help, even more than A Whole Day's Night. Just an excellent tone setter.
I think it's very good. I really like the lyrics on it. I like the playing. I'm not the biggest fan of the vocal style employed on Taxman, which kind of I think drags it down to some degree for me. Matthew, what are your thoughts on Taxman?
I would put it at third.
Uh, Santiago, what are your thoughts?
I will also put it on third. This song, it's fine. It's fine. I like the lyrics and the vibes overall of this song. Like it really sets very well the tone of the whole album, as Ben said. So I really like it as an opener. So I will put it in the third place.
Okay, so Ben wants that first. Matthew wants it at Fjord. I want it in between I Saw Her Standing On It Won't Be Long. Even though Revolver's my favorite Beatles album, I think it works this well as an opener than I Saw Her Standing There. I mean, as you know, I wanted to put I Saw Her Standing There above Drive My Car. Although I will say I am willing to compromise in between for putting it in between Drive My Car and I Saw Her Standing There as well. So
Wait a minute, it should be decided. Like basically, I saw Taxman got the most votes, so it should be at third.
oh, what? Do people think this is right? Ben, would
I
you
mean, I don't think it's
compromise?
why, but I'm willing to accept it.
All
Yeah,
right,
it should be.
Taxman is going at Fjord. Even though I would have put it below, I would have put it below Drive My Car, which I would have put below I Saw Her Standing now. And so here's the list we have so far. Help, A Hard Day's Night, Taxman, No Reply, Drive My Car, I Saw Her Standing There, and It Won't Be Long. Alright, up next is a very big one, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. I kind of wasn't sure if I should include With a Little Help from My Friends here or not, but I ended up not, so...
I mean,
Let
if
me...
that was the case, I would have put it at first.
I mean, it would have led to this being kind of an uneven ranking, so... I mean, that's why I left it out. Ben, what are your thoughts on Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band?
I mean, it's a good introductory song. It's a good iconic opening. That being said, I think it's better than No Reply, but I do like it less than Taxman. I mean, I think it's still an excellent album opener though. So I would put it in fourth above No Reply.
Matthew, what are your thoughts?
I would put it at fourth.
Santiago?
I will put it at first because I think it's a very iconic opening for this album. It's literally that, like that song is literally an opening. You know, like it has the greetings and all. Yeah, I think it deserves to be in the first place for being on this kind of opening. You know.
Okay, I will say my opinions on this song is it works really well as an album opener. It kind of is kind of a hype song for the album. But it's also a very good song in and of itself. I really like the opening guitar notes at the very beginning. I really like the vocal, especially Paul's part. That's, most of it. I think it works well, kind of, the album doesn't really stick exactly to this console concept very well, but it's kind of a good idea. I like the way it opens up the album with it, even if it's, not necessarily the most rigid structure. And of course, we do see it reprised later on as a bookend before we go back to A Day in the Life. And I think that kind of elevates it as well, even though we're not ranking the reprise here. Since we all talk about how well they work as album openers, I feel like we have to mention its dynamic with its reprise. I think it is a very, very good song. I think it's a very good album opener. People who remember some of our previous episodes might remember that Sgt. Pepper's is not my favorite Beatles album. I think it gets kind of weak towards the beginning of side 2, although it obviously picks up then again at the end. But I think this works really well as an album opener. I'm thinking we give it either second or third. I definitely want to put it below Help. I'm not sure about below A Hard Day's Night. I'm kind of thinking I want it at second, in between Help and A Hard Day's Night, although it also seems weird to split those songs up. But, it's what it is. So, here's, I guess, what we said. Santiago wants it at first. I want it at second, and Ben and Matthew, you wanted it after Taxman, right?
Yeah, fourth.
Yeah, fourth. So, I mean, those are options. Can you deny that opens the album very well, and that compared to these other songs, it really goes to some degree above and beyond with how it interacts with the album in the way that it's reprised at the end?
I mean, that's true. I mean, I don't know. If I thought it was bad, I would put it after I Won't Be Long. I think it's quite good.
I mean, we're
I put
discussing
it
how
above
well it
No
works
Reply.
as an album opener here.
I put it above No Reply. I mean, I don't know. It's a good one. I wouldn't put it at 1.
I could concede at 3, but I'm sticking with 4.
Yeah, I'm also willing to
Wait.
maybe...
Wait. Hold on. I was willing. 3 is after a whole day's night, right?
Yes.
I had said that earlier that I was willing to concede to that. So Ben and Matthew, you're both willing to concede to 3.
Yes.
Alright,
I am, in fact, not.
Well,
I'm changing my- I'm
Santiago
not-
thinks it should be at 1, and Matthew is willing to concede to 3.
But I'm sticking at 4.
Come on, dude.
I'm also sticking at 4. I briefly entertained it, but honestly, I do genuinely like the song Taxman.
Yeah, like I think
more.
I
think
usually
it's a
stick
good
to
one.
my guns in these things. Like, sure, I'm willing, but I'm sticking to my guns. I'm putting it 4.
Like Taxman, I wanted to put it at number 1. Did I? No. No, we didn't end up doing that. But I still think it should have been number 1. And like, I don't think Sgt. Pepper's is better with that. I like Sgt. Pepper's.
Look, I think Sgt. Pepper's, the way it interacts with the album format, really, as I said, goes the extra mile compared to really any of these other songs. I think it is great, and I think it's also a really, really good song. I could see a case of playing a Hard Day's Night over it, and of course, I think Help should be over it. I don't really see a case for any of these other songs, not even Ben's beloved No Reply.
I mean, I think it should be above No Pie. I think we all agree it should be above No Pie.
This is true.
Yeah.
Alright, Santiago, you wanted it at first, right?
Yeah, but I wouldn't have problem if it ended up at the second place or even third.
Alright, look,
But not below that.
Santiago,
Not below that.
Santiago is willing to compromise at Fjord. He wanted it at first. I wanted it at second. I'm willing to compromise it at Fjord. Is either one of you willing to compromise at Fjord?
I will only compromise if Matthew compromises first.
It's above Taxman, like supposedly, right?
Yeah, it's right above Taxman, but it's still below Whole Day's Night.
Sure, I'll put it at 3rd.
Alright,
I will
me
also move
and
it to Fjord.
Matthew and Santiago and Ben, I guess, have all agreed to put it in Fjord.
Yeah. Yes.
Alright, up next is Magical Mystery Tour, a song that, in my opinion, works better as an album opener than it really does as its own song.
I
Kind
would
of
put
an
it.
anomaly there. Go ahead, Matthew.
I would put it at 8th, like below. I saw her standing there. I feel like it's almost like a weaker Sergeant Pepper's Lonely
It
Heart
is.
Club
It is
Spin.
the least
It's very
unique
much like
song on here, probably.
try to do Sergeant Pepper, but like not as good.
It works with the format of Magical Mystery Tour, albeit not as well as Sgt. Pepper's the song did, because it doesn't have the reprise. It works pretty well with the format. I kind of like it. It's kind of like drawing people into the tour. It's kind of like an advertisement, but still kind of with Sgt. Pepper's, so it is the least unique song here. It is a pretty nice song. I'm kind of torn between whether or not I want it or It Won't Be Long. I'm thinking 8th or 9th. Matthew said 8th, so I guess I will side with him. Ben, what are your thoughts on Magical Mystery Tour?
This entire time, I've been thinking 8th.
Santiago?
Man, this song is just like it works so well as an opener. It's just such a great opener, you know. And but it's not as iconic as Sgt. Pepper's though, or A Hard Day's Night. But I do still think it's just a very good opening. So I will even place it below Sgt. Pepper.
Well, I will say, I give Santiago that works pretty well as an album opener. It is, as a song, the weakest song here, probably. I think how it works as, give or take, maybe it won't be long, but I'd say how it works as an album opener is enough to give it the nod over It Won't Be Long. Me, Ben, and Matthew have all reached consensus on putting it at 8th, so even if Santiago wants it at 4th, I mean, it's going at 8. I'm sorry, Santiago. Alright, up next is Back in the USSR.
Can I go first?
Matthew, what are your thoughts on this song?
I personally would put it at first. And I would personally compromise at maybe 2, maybe 3, but nothing below that.
Can you explain your reasoning a bit better, Matthew?
Where to begin? This song just slaps, basically. It's like, it's very much has like it's almost like old school Beatles, how they were kind of had like that old rock and roll type of energy, but this is like, you combine it with their iconic era, like basically everything from 1964, 65 to like the 1970. It's like great lyrics, great instrument playing, the works. So, but there is also one that I would put above Back in the USSR, but I personally put it at first. I would compromise at 3.
I think it should be forced.
And
It has like a really rich production. It has kind of that pastiche of the Beach Boys that also draws on the early Beatles, then brings it forward. Has funny lyrics, just great singing, great playing. Like I always say, great production. Kind of combines the best things of both eras of 1960s rock, both the kind of Beatles, or the Beach Boy sound, and then the later richness of George Martin's production and the development of the Beatles as, great artists. Does knock all the other ones out of the bottle.
The Ukraine girls really knock me out and leave the West behind.
Alright, Santiago, what are your thoughts on Back in the USSR?
I was thinking about Taxman, but now I'm thinking literally like 5th place, like about No Reply.
Okay, I guess I'll give my thoughts now. I like how on the White Album there's this whole, thing where they try out different styles, and you have the kind of country folk stuff at some Paul, and for some of the more folk stuff, some John as well. Then you have some of this other stuff, and you've got a lot of different kind of separate sounds. And one of those things is, the full song being kind of a genre exercise in the soft rock Beach Boys genre. It's a good song. I really like Paul's vocal on this. It was, something we talked about quite a bit, I think, during the Best Paul McCartney Vocal Performances episode. But I don't think it's the best album opener, as it doesn't really tie in with the rest of the album. But at the same time, it kind of does tie in with the rest of the album, because part of the White Album's appeal is how nothing in it really ties in with the rest of it, and it's just kind of a genre roulette sort of thing. I would personally put it probably in between No Reply and Drive My Car. It's only one spot lower than Santiago would be wanting to put it, though. So I think I would be willing to compromise with Santiago's position of 5th in between Taxman and No Reply.
I will not concede.
I'm not gonna concede. This is like
I will not concede.
Top 10 Beatles songs.
This is
maybe
definitely not the best Beatles album opener. It is.
I'm not conceding. I will not yield on this one. I think it's like what you need as an album opener. You need you need a rush of adrenaline. You need some rock to your soul, basically. And Back in the USSR.
I saw Standing Bill Fire, if that's true.
Well,
Help,
yeah, sure,
Help
but
is the best Beatles album opener. Okay, I'm gonna come out and say it right now.
Well,
it had everything you need. It had the walk, it had the adrenaline, but it also had the introspection. It had the best of both worlds, Matthew.
Well, sure, but what I need in an album opener, I need like a rush of adrenaline, like consistently. I think Help is a great song, and one can say it is a better song than Back in the USSR. But like I need like a rush, like a consistent rush of adrenaline,
Help
and
is a
that
very
would
fast-paced song, man.
no, it is no, it's not in comparison to back to USSR. But I will not yield on this one. And technically, if we're going priority rules, I think that we sometimes did. Technically, back in the USSR won.
No, wait, but no, Chris and Santiago have agreed on the same spot too. So it's
Okay, sure. Well, I'm not yielding on this one.
I'm not
Back
yelling either, though, too, because here's the thing: back in the USSR, and also the way it flows into Dale Prudence, and then have Dale Prudence interacts with Glass Onion, is like probably the perfect opening stretch on any Beatles album. The only real competitor to that is Sgt. Pepper's, and
Abbey Road, maybe. Abbey Road.
yeah, for the first two songs. So that's with
I'd say
Maxwell.
Sgt. Pepper's, despite not being my
Revolver.
favorite, Sgt. Pepper's is not my favorite Beatles album.
Volver is
'cause
a good one.
I think Sgt. Pepper's, as I said, it's kind of front loaded as part of its problem. It's kind of like the Van Halen 1 or Steely Dan's Asia of Beatles albums. Is in or like,
Except the White
Ex-
Album is way better than Asia.
except for Day of the Life. No, I was talking about Sgt. Pepper's anyways, not the White Album. The
Well,
White
Sgt.
Album,
Pepper is way better than Asia,
The White
though.
Album is not front loaded. The White Album, I would say, is better paced than Sgt. Pepper's, certainly. It does a better job, I think, at spreading its best tracks around. I've always said this, it's very important to me that an album has good pacing, and part of that is you want to mix in the really high songs with the somewhat weaker songs to kind of help carry them up. Sgt. Pepper's. Now, I do like Being Fulfilled for Mr. Clean and Lovely Rita. I'm gonna be honest, I do not care for Good Morning. A Day in the Life, of course, was great, but the other beginning of side 2, Sgt. Pepper's does kind of start to lull. They front loaded the first half, the second half is weaker. It's still pretty good, though.
Back in the USSR, excellent song. No flaws. Just has just a perfect production.
It's not the most
Production
original
perfectly
song. You
flows
have to
into the next
admit,
song.
Ben.
What?
Like as far as no flaws go, I will say it doesn't tie in with the rest of the album as well as Sgt. Pepper's Lonely
You'd
Hearts
say
Club
this
Band.
all the time, man.
And
Like,
I will say that, you said no flaws. I will argue that it is one of the less unique songs here, as it is very much
what?
a Beach Boys song, but done by the Beatles.
I mean,
It's less-
technically, it's a
less,
Chuck Berry.
It's less.
I think it's
yeah, it was
Chuck
Chuck
Berry or
Berry, but it's less.
See,
It's less unique. It's less uniquely
What's the
Beatles than.
Unique doesn't automatically mean, oh, it's good. You could be unique and you could still be trash, man.
And this is also a very postmodern song. Like the way it gauges the kind of like Glass Onion too, which is another excellent song. But I like this one better because it just the groove of this one is better.
I
That
like both of those songs.
this song is just fun. It's funny. It's it like openly deals with its referentials. It definitely openly deals with kind of the concept that that it's in conversation with other texts. It's just on a purely musical level, just ignoring the lyrics. It's just a really great combination of the old styles of Chuck Berry and the Beach Boys with a new George Martin production, with a new Beatles style. It's just excellent. This is something that could have easily gone very wrong.
You
Could
say
have
that,
easily
Ben,
gone
you say
I
that,
agree.
You say that like George Martin production is somehow inherently better than Brian Wilson production.
I mean, Brian Wilson was kind of like
He was a king.
not doing so well, so.
Well, no, by this point he wasn't, but I mean...
Yes, I'm not
Are
gonna
you
shut
meaning
up.
to tell me that Back of the USSR is a better song than God Only Knows?
No,
He
I
did
don't
not
think I would
say
be
anything
honest,
of the
actually.
sorts.
But
Stop
we're not
slandering.
discussing God Only Knows, or Pet Sounds.
Can
Yes,
we
the
agree
Sounds
that
is
the best Beatles album opener is Wouldn't It Be Nice by the Beach Boys?
That's an excellent. That's probably the
But
Beach Boys' best
back in
album.
the USSR is better than Wouldn't It Be Nice, though.
No, it's not.
Yes,
It
it
is
is.
Beethoven, wouldn't it be nice? But
No,
would it be
it
nice?
is not.
Yes, it is.
Wouldn't It Be Nice is like one of the best Beach Boys songs, and also a Beatle
It's
album
not.
opener and a Beatles song in Back of USSR.
No, it's not better opener than. You need a kick in the butt in terms of an album opener. Come on.
Not
But in
necessarily.
this
Not
case,
necessarily, but you need something that's like, here I am. This is me. This is the person that I am, and you'll eat it and like it or something. You need that type of energy.
so Villainous on the White Album, even though it's so desperate, it has a bunch of different genres, a bunch of different styles. Some of them are recorded almost like solo pieces. Nevertheless, there's kind of like a White Album vibe that I still think exists, and I can't tell you what it is. But it is set by Back of the USSR, and it appeals in a lot of the songs on it. I'm assuming it has something to do with the production. Somebody who's smart on production, please tell me what it is.
Like,
There
I
was
would
something
argue.
there's a vibe that Back of the USSR sets for the White Album that makes the White Album a lot more enjoyable than it would be without that.
Like, I would argue that Back in the USSR's greatest strength is its greatest weakness. It's that it doesn't tie in with
What
any of the other.
Talking about. What are you
Look, the
talking
whole
about?
point is the greatest strength of the White Album is how it's this kind of genre roulette thing, and there's all these.
That's what Back in
different-
the USSR is. It
and that's what
basically
Back in the USSR is. But
like that. What do you expect from the White Album? It's
Yeah,
basically
sure,
like
it is the perfect opening
Dude,
to
Chris,
the White
you-
Album.
Chris,
no other
Chris.
song on the White Album could have opened the White Album better than Back in the USSR did.
Also, how it transitions into Dale Prudence, amazing.
yes. Come on, you're not gonna, You say all this stuff, but you're not convincing me. You almost sound like you're talking to both sides of your mouths on this one. So you're not convincing me that, that Back in the USSR is going to be anywhere but one.
It was the white opener and the white move for the White Album, okay? It was the white move to open the album, okay? I will agree with that, and I agree that it deserves points for that, which is why I've decided it should be above Taxman.
It should be higher. Put it at third. I'm sticking to one.
Third.
Come on,
No,
it's not.
we want it as number one. It is
One. We're not doing number one. We're doing number one.
We can't do number one, because me and
Why
Santiago
can't we do number one? What is stopping us?
It is definitely not better than Help. Help,
It
it
is
has
better than-
both. It
is better than Help. Come on.
Help has both the
Dude,
high
Chris,
octane energy.
Chris.
Okay.
You're
and
saying
introspective lyrics.
I have something to say.
Go ahead, Santiago.
okay, sure. Let me say that until I want to say something.
Back in the USSR, it's a good song. It's a great song, but that doesn't mean it's a great opening. That's all I wanted to
What are
say.
you talking about, man?
Great opening. Literally.
It is an amazing opening.
Honestly, it
It's a
sounds
great,
alright.
it's a great song, but not a great opening.
The
Come
genre,
on, man.
I think it's
the genre. Can I speak?
Yeah,
Just
sure.
perfect for the fourth place. Yeah.
Genre. The genre relay of the album that Chris was talking about is captured by the combination of the more modern meaning late 60s elements of this song, and also the Chuck Berry elements, and also the Beach Boys elements. The song itself is a synthesis of multiple different sounds. That's why it perfectly opens the White Album.
And also, you could say Back in the USSR perfectly embodies the White Album more than some of the other stuff here.
I certainly think it works pretty well as an opener. I'm certainly clearly. It seems I'm more pro Back in the USSR than Santiago is. Which is why, you all should compromise with me to put it in fourth.
No. No, I'm not compromising on this one.
Yeah,
No.
I like it below Sgt. Pepper. Yeah.
No, Sgt. Pepper is not as good as a song as Back in the USSR. Let's be honest.
The best Beatles album opener, to be clear.
Is Back in the USSR.
No,
Yeah,
it's when I'm
Best
16.
Beatles album opener, just all together. I'm willing to say
It
that.
is not.
Yes.
Help.
Sure, Help is good, but Back in the USSR captures the insanity that is the White Album. Like, there's no better. Would you put No Reply as the first song of the White Album? It wouldn't work. If you put Taxman at the top of the album of the White Album, it wouldn't work. Even if you put Sgt. Pepper on top of the White Album, it wouldn't work. Back in the USSR works as the album opener of White Album.
I agree that
Yeah, I mean,
works
what
as
else
album
song
opener,
could be?
which is why I'm willing to compromise in putting it higher in some cases. But I don't think it should be above Sgt. Pepper's A Hard Day's Night or Help.
It should be above Sgt. Pepper.
With Sgt. Pepper's, I'm
I
definitely
agree with
not
Chris.
willing
No.
to be under Sgt.
Yeah.
Pepper.
I will not yield on this one. It's basically my constant attitude throughout this episode. I do not yield. I persist.
I want it below Sgt. Pepper.
Why?
I
What
want it
makes?
before.
Let me ask you a question. What makes Sgt. Pepper better song than Back in the USSR?
It works
Because
better with the album.
it just fits. Because it just fits as an opener. It's just
So
perfect
does Back in the
opener.
USSR. Back in the USSR fit either.
It's
Your
also
arguments.
more
Let me tell you
unique.
something.
It's
Chris
the
and
ultimate
Santiago-
hype song.
Chris. Let me speak. Your arguments against Back in the USSR do not make any damn sense. Let's just make it clear.
I mean, once again, yeah, it is definitely better than Sgt. Pepper.
Look,
Sgt.
we're
Pepper's is
going
a great
to
album.
have
It's just way better.
We're going to have to do the coin toss again. Ben, what do you choose?
Heads.
Alright, we will do best of three again. That is heads. That is heads. So, by default, heads has it, so you all win, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is great revenge from the no reply BS. I feel justified.
I still think Help is a better album opener than Back
Well,
in the USSR.
too bad. Let's get to the next one.
Alright, the next one is Come Together. Matthew, what are your thoughts on this song?
Ooh. I think I put it at first, but I would honestly compromise at two.
Santiago, what are your thoughts on this song?
Can I?
Oh, yeah, go
can I-
ahead, Matthew. I didn't realize
I'm
you
sorry.
weren't done.
I'm just heated because I'm so happy that a song that is personal to me. This is the second time I have fought for a Beatles song.
How's it
First
personal?
off, it's just a fantastic song. And first, I fought against Ben in defending against his hatred of I Need You. And then, second time, I did it again. But Ben came to my side in support. And I fought against you and Santiago's hatred of Back in the USSR. And once again, I won.
I don't
Anyway,
think I hated Back to the USSR. I think that was something Santiago.
whatever. But Come Together is just, I mean, Abbey Road, I'm biased. Abbey Road is my favorite Beatles album. I think it's just great. But anyway, everything about this song is incredible. So I think I would put it at 1, but I'm willing to compromise at 2.
Ben?
I think it should be at 2. I'm pretty divided, kind of like Matthew, in the sense of it is great song, but basically this entire time I've wanted it to be right below Back in the USSR as number 2. Abbey Road is the best Beatles album. Abbey Road is the Love Lullaby album. On the other hand, I do think that I like the song Back in the USSR better than Come Together, though if it was in number 1, I would not be upset at all. Anyway, Santiago.
I'll put it at first. I think
Okay.
even the title is very fitting as an opener, and the song itself is just great. So yeah,
This is the second Chuck Berry influenced sort of Chuck Berry style album opener after Back in the USSR.
Which is great because Chuck Berry rocks. The Godfather of rock and roll.
And I will say though that I would personally put it, I think, a lot lower than most of you. I would probably put it maybe in between No Reply and Drive My Car. It's a
No,
good
no,
song.
no,
I'm willing
no,
to
no,
compromise and put it above Taxman.
no.
I'm gonna
Get
be
out of
outvoted. I'm
here,
gonna be
Chris.
outvoted on this either way.
Boo!
I'm
Boo!
gonna be outvoted on this either way. I mean, I know I am. So let
Okay,
me
so
speak.
I'm moving it to number one. I'm moving my vote to one. Matthew's vote is one. Santiago's vote is one.
One.
I'll move it
I
to
said
one,
one.
but I will say you and Ben both said, or at least you, Matthew, said last time that Back of the USSR was the best Beatles album opener, and I will say it is
Did
just.
you did you hear what I said? I said there was one that could be better than it.
Yeah, okay, so up next is Two of Us from Let It Be. It's a great song. Santiago, go.
Two of Us. It's very off as a opener. I think that song just doesn't belong being in as an opening. It's a great song. I love the song. It's actually one of my favorites, but I don't see it as an opener. So I'll put it below No Reply.
I would say that I'm not for disowning Let It Be. I really like Let It Be, but to some
Yeah, it's
degree,
good.
if
It's
you're
good.
wanting to watch the Beatles' kind of evolution, it makes more sense to listen to it right after the White Album and then Abbey Road.
Yeah, it
But
also
because both
just feels.
recorded, because the White Album was their most separate, most like an hour of need album, and then Let It Be was kind of getting back together again. They're a little bit tighter on it than they were on the White Album, and then Abbey Road is them coming together for the big finale at the end of the movie for like the final boss battle.
The final
The
boss battle.
final boss
But
battle against Mean Mr. Mustard. On the White Album, they're falling apart. They're very separate. And then on Let It Be, they're kind of coming back together. For like the final fight, they're kind of getting ready. It's like a montage. And then on Abbey Road, then at the beginning of Abbey Road, they come together and deliver the big epic finale. And in my opinion, Two of Us actually does work well then if you view it in that context as an album opener, because it shows Paul and John with their harmonies and the kind of song about the two of them coming back together after having been separated from out almost all of the White Album. And I think it works very well as it kind of is them setting the stage, I guess, them kind of reuniting, joining forces, but in kind of a folksy, introspective way, kind of a heartwarming sort of way. And as I said, I always see kind of Let It Be as the kind of get back together for the final showdown sort of album. You have the White Album that was kind of them falling apart. Then you have them getting back together on Let It Be, and then you have them delivering the epic finale on Abbey Road. So the way I see it, actually, when viewed in that context, Two of Us, with kind of Paul and John being kind of a olive branch between them in some ways, and with their harmonies kind of being back, something that really wasn't present on the White Album, and with kind of it almost seeming like it's about their relationship and them being together, I think works very, very well in that regard, actually, as kind of a representation of the album as a whole. And I also like how the album is bookended by Two of Us sort of getting back together in a way, kind of renewing their efforts, saying we're going to be, more together on this album than we were on the last album, in this case being the White Album. And then the end of the album being bookended by the appropriately titled Get Back. So I think it works very actually well in a very meta context as an album opener. Right,
So where would you rank it?
I'm not sure I've decided yet. I kind of want to hear what you have to say, Matthew. You and Ben.
I personally would put Two of Us at 3. Um, this has been a song I've been listening to a lot lately. I think it's a really great song. It's a great opening. It's like you're on a car ride and you have your guitar in hand, you're with your buddies and all that. And it's just a beautiful sounding song. And I put it at 3rd. But I would compromise putting it somewhere in the top 5.
I'm thinking about putting it in 4th, maybe? Ben, what are your thoughts?
I would put it in After a Hard Day's Night.
I think, I think it's a really good song. I personally like it better than Back in the USSR. Maybe Come Together as well. Probably Come Together as well. Well, no, I said I like Back in the USSR. I think Back in the USSR is better as an album opener than Come Together, but I think Come Together is the better song of the two. Two of Us, I think, works really well as both an album opener on both kind of a meta level as well the Beatles were at in their career there, as well as being just kind of a nice, folksy, heartwarming song in and of its own. I think it's both a great song, a very underlooked Beatles song, I'd say in some ways. It is kind of an A-tier Beatles song, maybe S-tier. And I think it works well as an album opener. Santiago said he wouldn't have a problem if it was.
I will not have a problem if it's just as if it ends up at 5th.
I'm my main position is it should be put at 3rd, but I am okay if you put it at 4 or 5.
I side with Santiago. I'm leaning towards 5th.
Alright, I will compromise to 5th.
Yeah,
Nice.
me too.
Nice.
So, here is the
Perfect.
final list. We've finally finished, since we were not doing Yellow Submarine. So, here's the final list. So, number 12 is It Won't Be Long. I think, most of us, I think, agreed that It Won't Be Long was the weakest Beatles album opener. I certainly did. It's one of the few songs here whose placements I agree with. After that, at 11 is Magical Mystery Tour. Probably the only other song whose placement I agree with. It's a little bit better as an album opener than It Won't Be Long, though it's about on the same level of a song. Neither one of them really all that great. Number 10 is I Saw Her Standing There. Really should have been a little higher. Should have been above Drive My Car at least.
It should have
I
been higher
agree.
than No Reply.
I agree.
No.
It should have been higher than No Reply.
No.
Anyway, continue.
So yeah, number 9 is Drive My Car. I would have had this below I Saw Her Standing There. It was still a really good song. Number 8 is No Reply. Really should have been maybe a little bit higher. Maybe above Taxman. Really good song. 7 is Taxman, which, despite being the opener of my favorite Beatles album, is, in my opinion, one of the weaker tracks on the album, although not the weakest either. I've just never been really a fan of the vocal style on it. Number 6 is Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. I would have had it a little bit higher, but it's fine, I think, where it's at. Number 5 is Two of Us. It's one whose placement I'm generally alright with as well. Pretty good, pretty underrated album opener from the Beatles, and honestly, just in general. Number 4 is A Hard Day's Night. Very good. I think its placing generally makes sense in a way, although I would have had it higher. I would have probably had it and Help be the top, maybe like 1 and 3 or 1 and 2, with maybe Two of Us and Sgt. Pepper's. Number 3 is Help. That was my personal favorite Beatles album opener. But you all hate early Beatles, or early and mid Beatles for some reason, so it didn't happen, sadly. 2 is Back in the USSR. Should have been quite a bit lower, although not as low as some of these other things. Honestly, would have put it above Taxman, personally. And number 1 is Come Together, which which, yeah, should not have been this high, even in my opinion. It's a good song. As I said, I think it's a better song than Back in the USSR, but a less good album opener than Back in the USSR, if that makes sense. I would put it, for the sake of this video, below Back in the USSR, personally, but, I mean, 3 of you wanted it to be enforced, so...
I like to be
And
under
of
the
course,
sea.
number 0 is Wouldn't It Be Nice by the Beach Boys from their 1966 album,
Nah.
Pet Sounds.
Okay, sure.
I have to say, I see this as an absolute win. I didn't get every placement I wanted, but I think of the list that people were wanting, this is closest to mine.
I say I was the biggest winner because my top 2 ended up at the top 2.
My
It should have been
the non-immortal.
it should have been Help and then Wouldn't It Be Nice by the Beach Boys.
Well, Would It Be Nice isn't a Beatles song.
That's true.
Help wouldn't be in number 3 if it wasn't excellent.
I would put it at two of us at number 3, but you know.
I would put Help
Sorry.
at 1, and then maybe 2 of us, and then maybe A Hot Day's Night.
Okay. The Ukraine girls really knock me out.
I would have put.
They leave the less behind.
You wanted a
The
Beach
Bones
Boys
Feel My Bones.
song at number 1, but then you object to me saying that we should have done Wouldn't It Be Nice is really high.
Well, that's not a Beatles song.
Okay. And?
Y'all are knowing.
What do you mean, and? Come on, man. You've been inconsistent this whole episode.
Yes.
I
I actually do think Back in the
Listen,
USSR
Matthew,
is
listen, I did not need Back in the USSR to lose. I just needed Help to win.
Well, too bad. Like, Help is a good song, but the 2 obvious better ones came on top of it.
I want to point out that Back in the USSR only got ahead of Help because you won a coin toss. Not because consensus
That was the same
reached.
thing for that's the same thing with no reply then.
Yeah,
No
it's
reply.
true, but I will say, both, we were actually tied on whether or not Back in the USSR was better than Help, because Santiago agreed with me that it was not.
Dude, I say like you this entire episode you've been wonky on this one, man. You're literally like, oh man, it technically didn't count that Back in the USSR won the coin toss. But when No Reply won a coin toss, I think it was completely fine with it. Come on,
Well, no,
man.
I'm fine with either one. I mean, I put Back in the USSR where it is because it won the coin toss. But I will say, with Back in the USSR and No Reply both,
Yes,
it's important to remember that consensus.
Why do you hate democracy, man?
Consensus was never reached on those 2 songs. It's important to remember.
Those are ones.
Come on, man. You can't have it both ways.
And neither can you. So, look, here's the list we ended up with. It has Back in the USSR
Chris is a
at
sore
2.
loser.
What?
I said Chris is a sore loser today.
This is the list we came up with, Matthew. Are you going to really object to it? It has your top 2.
No, I don't.
This has been another productive episode of the Rock Roundtable. Kind of. I mean, we got deadlocked just pretty frequently, it felt like. But, you know, these ranking videos, they give us a chance to really, I guess, air some interesting opinions. I still can't believe my beloved Help lost.
You know what? David struck Goliath twice. I won with I Need You over the other hatred against the song, and I won with Back in the USSR and Come Together against Chris's hatred. I consider that a victory.
Anyways, that's it for today's episode. I don't really know how we follow up anymore on what we just said. So, yeah, remember to stream Help on your streaming service of choice. Remember
And
to
also
go...
to stream
Also
to stream
I
Back
Need
to the
You.
USSR and Come Together.
And I Need You.
And I Need You.
And I Need You, which
And-
is not an album opener, but it's on
No
Help.
reply.
And No Reply.
Yeah,
Yes,
Lester
banger.
extend notified. Alright.
And Wouldn't It Be Nice by the Beach Boys. Thank you all for watching. I hope you'll go watch some other episodes of Rock Roundtable. We have one where we ranked the songs George Harrison did. That was kind of like this with the Beatles. It had more songs, but it was honestly probably less chaotic, although still plenty chaotic. And also, uh, we have ones discussing Beatles albums. We have ones discussing Paul McCartney vocal performances. All of those have been kind of mentioned in here. And yeah, I mean, I think that's it. So, once again, thank you all for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in the next episode. Thank you.